shoes pinch, sir. Do bring them back.
That's right, sir. You bring them back, and I'll give you the name of my chiropodist.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. I shall be in my chair, Mr. Humphreys, if you require me.
That's right, Mr. Grainger. You're going to have 40 winks.
Yeah, sit and dream about the great trouser sale of 1938.
So anyway, I said, look, Mother, you come and stop with me for a week, and perhaps my dad will have come to his senses. She arrived. The first thing she does is complain about the sleeping arrangements.
You mean she didn't like the settee?
No, she took exception to my canopied bed.
The cheek of it.
The lace alone cost £100. And she wouldn't put her teeth in the cut glass goblet. And to cap everything, as soon as she'd had her bath and put her curlers in, she insisted on sitting behind the curtains looking at the neighbours.
And I bet they all thought it was you.
I shan't share my confidences with you if you're going to mock me. I had some very strange phone calls. Too heavy breathing and a wrong number.
That's more than you usually get.
Especially on a Tuesday.
Menswear.
Oh, hello, Mother. It's her. Yes, dear. No, Miss Sewing Basket is in the piano stool, dear. She's going to sew a button on my pyjamas. Now my pyjamas are in my teddy bear. Well, it zips up the back. Can't find my teddy bear now. It's in my canopied bed, peeping over the sheets. Oh, and listen, if you're going to put the stew in the oven, for goodness sake, take my slippers out. Right, bye. Yes, of course I shall be a good boy.
That's a funny place to keep your pyjamas, isn't it? Inside a teddy bear.
Well, where'd you keep yours?
Inside my basil brush.
There you are, miss. And if you take my advice, you'll remove the elastic before you wash them, and then they won't let you down. Anyway, Mrs. Axelby and me left the pub then. Well, there wasn't much doing, you know. And it was then that we discovered these two men were following us. So we walked on past my house to put them off the scent, you know. Only Mrs. Axelby fell down a couple of times. Well, the pavements are very uneven round my way, and we were wearing our high-heeled ankle straps. So, of course, these two fellas caught up with us.
What happened?
Well, it turned out I'd dropped my umbrella outside and they were running after us to give it back. Anyway, they helped me indoors with Mrs. Axelby. Only after I put on the light, they wouldn't stop because they said it hurt their eyes. But they were ever so polite. I mean, when we said goodbye at the door, they didn't try to kiss us or anything like that.
That's unusual.
Well, I find that manners are getting better and better.
No, Mr. Rumbold. Captain Peacock isn't here yet. Yes, I'll ask him to wait.
Morning. Good God. I have a 10 o'clock appointment with Mr. Rumbold.
Oh, yes, he's expecting you. But he's been delayed in the boardroom. Apparently, young Mr. Grace has fallen asleep. They're waiting for him to wake up to adjourn the board meeting.
You're new here, aren't you?
Well, I used to work on young Mr. Grace's personal stuff, but after his last heart attack, well, his doctor decided on a change.
Not surprised.
Well, you seem awfully young to be a captain.
Thank you. How old do you think I am?
Oh, about 55? Well, they didn't make my father a ship's captain until he was 60.
I was in the army. I'm considerably younger than that.
Oh, you look much younger. And besides, I like your moustache. It's very David Niven-ish.
Yes, it has been mentioned before.
Well, looking for the sun. Hello. Am I interrupting anything?
Not a thing. I'm just waiting to see Mr. Rumbold.
Oh, on the carpet, are you?
Certainly not.
What are you here for, then?
That has nothing to do with you. Now put that down and get about your business.
You have no jurisdiction over me. I am manual and maintenance. You cannot tell me to get out of this office. There is only one person what could tell me to get out of this office. And until that person tells me to get out of this office, in this office, I shall stay.
Mr. Harmon, get out.
Yeah. He's chatting up your bird.
Now, Peacock, thank you for dropping in.
Shall I sit down, sir?
No, I shan't keep you long. This is a FYEO meeting.
A what, sir?
FYEO, for your ears only. Now, Peacock.
Yes.
To put it in a nutshell, I'm going.
Oh, congratulations and goodbye. It's Harrod's barber shop. Is there anything in it?
Will you let me finish my sentence? I'm going for 1 month on a sales and managerial seminar to Swansea. And the reason for the board meeting was to decide who should take over here, which is why I sent for you.
Well, I shall, of course, endeavour to give every satisfaction. Are you taking your secretary with you?
No, I'm leaving her here.
Ah, well, she'll be able to show me where everything is.
Why should she show you where everything is?
When I take over the reins.
But you're not taking over the reins, Peacock.
What am I standing here for, then?
I sent for you to tell you that Mr. Grainger is taking over.
Mr. Grainger?
Don't get upset. You are, of course, the natural heir to the throne, so to speak, and you will ultimately take over in 10, 15 or 20 years' time.
I must rush home and tell Mrs. Peacock.
But just for 1 month, we're putting Grainger here. It'll qualify for a higher pension, and there's absolutely nothing to do.
I know that.
Because I've done it all. You know, the point is, it will appear as if he's being promoted over your head, which, of course, is not the case.
Isn't it?
You and I know the truth, but we can't tell anyone else.
I understand. Well, he's a very dear personal friend of mine, so it'll be something for him to look back on in his declining years. May I have the pleasure of telling him myself?
No, I'm afraid you can't. That would give the whole show away. No, I will tell him, and you will look suitably surprised.
Speaking personally, I never have any trouble in getting up in the morning. My pussy's just like an alarm clock. Every morning at 6:15, it drops its clockwork mouse on my pillow and it won't get over. Not until I've wound it up and had a game under the bed.
Mr. Slocum, Miss Brahms, are you free?
At the moment, Captain Peacock.
Come along, Miss Brahms. Mr. Humphreys, Mr. Lucas, are you free?
Yes, we're free, Captain Peacock.
Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are free, Mr. Humphreys, yes. Mind you, 5 minutes ago, we wouldn't have been free, would we, Mr. Humphreys? We would not have been free, no, Mr. Lucas. But we are free now. Mind you, in 2 minutes, I won't be free.
Why not, Mr. Lucas?
Because it's my coffee break.
Anybody's coffee break until I say so.
Must be frightening to have so much power, mustn't it, Mr. Humphreys?
Let's hope he uses it for good.
What I have to say concerns you all.
Excuse me, sir. Mr. Grainger is not here.
Well, where is he? He's not asleep, is he?
Of course he's not asleep, is he, Mr. Luke?
No, indeed he is not. He's carrying out an investigation. We thought we had a bit of woodworm, and he's listening to see if they're chewing through his door. The first crunch, he'll leap into action.
Get him over here, Mr. Humphreys.
Mr. Grainger, are you free?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas has been telling us about the woodworm in your drawers.
Impertinent monkey.
I have to announce that I'm going away for 1 month on a sales and management conference.
Are you, sir? Really? Good gracious me. What a surprise.
During my absence, someone will have to take over my management function in the office, and there has been a board meeting this morning to decide on who should be my temporary successor.
Good gracious, how exciting. I wonder who it can be.
Don't pretend you don't know. It's bound to be you.
As a matter of fact, it is not, Captain Peacock.
What?
It is, in fact, Mr. Ernest Grainger.
No.
I wasn't asleep over there, you know.
Congratulations.
On what? Not being asleep?
You're going to be the manager. He's just said so.
What, me? The manager?
I must say it comes as a complete surprise.
Well, I think that's everything. Get all your things together, pop into the office, and I'll put you into the picture.
Yes, of course.
Let me be the first to congratulate you, Ernest.
Thank you, Stephen.
Well, go to the foot of our stairs.
Discrimination. Everyone knows it should have been you.
Oh, no. You have to have one foot in the grave before you move here.
Well, at least, Mrs. Slocum, you're eligible.
If I was in that office, you wouldn't be out here for 5 minutes.
Oh, I know. You'd have me inside there for a quick chat and a cuddle, wouldn't you?
Now, come on, off you go, and don't forget your spare teeth.
Will you take over while I'm away, please, Mr. Humphreys?
Be a pleasure, Mr. Grainger.
And would you be kind enough to telephone Mrs. Grainger and break the news to her?
Well, you can do that yourself. You've got a phone in your office.
Oh, yes, of course. I've got an office, haven't I? Yes, I can't quite get used to it.
Mr. Grainger, you won't need that in there.
Oh, no. Would you care to use it while I'm away, Mr. Humphreys?
A great honour, Mr. Grainger. Just think of the thousands of inside legs at that stuff.
I'll see you later. It's very exciting, isn't it?
Glass of water for Captain Peacock.
I do not require a glass of water.
But I do. It's been a great shock to me. You know, I thought you'd get anything that was going in that office.
Especially that new secretary.
You're taking it so calm. You know, if it was me, I'd be tearing my hair out.
Well, that shouldn't take you long.
That thin bit at the back is where the pillar rubs. The rest is growing lush and rampant.
It may seem strange that Mr. Grainger has been promoted over my head, but there is a reason why.
Ah, it's because you're Jewish.
Mr. Lucas, the finger against the side of the nose is a recognized sign for secrecy. My lips are sealed.
Well, can we all have a guess?
We don't need to guess. He wasn't up to the job and he's trying to cover it up.
Oh, yes, you men are all alike.
Mr. Slocum was just the same. Do you know, every morning at 9:30 prompt, he went out of the house with his briefcase and his rolled umbrella, and he didn't even have a job. I found him in the park feeding the ducks.
What did he say to you when you questioned him?
He didn't say anything. He just went...
Hello. Can I have a word with Mr. Rumbold, please?
But he's not here, Mr. Grace. Mr. Grainger took over before lunch.
Oh, yes, so he did. I never remember now. Well, I'll speak to him then.
Oh, he's still in the chief accountant's office, Mr. Patel.
Doing what?
Asking for a rise.
Oh, he's got the right idea then. He'll be asking for first-class fares next.
He's already done that.
Weren't you the girl who used to work in my office?
Yes, I am, Mr. Grace.
I've been looking for the sunshine. Hey?
How many times have I told you not to walk across the sales floor when the store is open?
I'm sorry, Captain Peacock, but we've run out of helium in the cellar.
What's that got to do with it?
Well, if I filled a balloon with it, I could have floated across the floor. Because across the floor, I have to go.
Wines and spirits are on the ground floor.
This happens to be the executive drinks trolley and was ordered by the new departmental head, Mr. Ernest Grainger, who's already snapped me off once for not delivering it before lunch. So if you'll excuse me. Rolling round the bar.
Oh, I heard that. I do hope Mr. Grainger doesn't get into trouble for ordering that.
Well, perhaps he should hold a celebration party.
No, it's quite in order. Just one of the perks of his position.
Captain Peacock, I wonder if I could have your permission to leave the floor shortly. I wish to ask Mr. Grainger for some time off. Me roots need doing.
I meant to mention that to you.
Certainly, Mrs. Slocum, but after me, I too have one or two things at home that need my attention, and I may have to leave early.
Oh, of course, it's the Chelsea-Fulham replay tonight, isn't it?
I must say it's useful to have a friend in the camp.
I've always found that to be the case.
Well, perhaps Mr. Humphreys and I could ask for a temporary rise.
What for?
Well, on account of the fact there's only two of us on that counter doing all the extra work.
Yes, that's true, but on the other hand, you are sharing Mr. Grainger's commission, and therefore it could be said that you're better off.
What commission? We've only had 2 customers all day.
Ah, yes, well, I mean, all the same, there are 2 of us pretending and looking as though we're doing the work of 3.
Yes, but I don't think we ought to take advantage of Mr. Grainger's good nature. Menswear.
Hello, Mr. Grainger. How are you? It's Mr. Humphreys. Do you know we do miss you? Yes, of course, I will. Captain Peacock, would you go in, please?
Good, I told him I wanted to see him after lunch.
Well, I don't drown it. And get that skirt altered.
Oh, well, how much longer, Mr. Grainger?
Make it shorter. See who that is.
It's Captain Peacock.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yes, I have an appointment with him. All right, send him in.
Mr. Grainger will see you now.
Ah, Stephen. How have you been keeping?
Well, since this morning, I haven't changed very much.
Well, don't stand on ceremony, Stephen. Do sit down.
Thank you, Ernest.
Do you smoke?
Yes, indeed.
Have a cigarette. I can't offer you a drink because it's not allowed for junior staff. Now, what can I do for you?
Well, it's really very trivial, Ernest, but there is a slight domestic crisis on, so if it's all the same to you, I'll be leaving about an hour early tonight.
An hour early? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Do I take it you're refusing my request?
It isn't just me, Stephen. I have to think of the whole of Grace Brothers. Times are very hard. Just pass the whiskey, will you? Yes. Costs are going up and margins are coming down.
Yes. Well, half an hour early then.
No, I'd like to help if I could, Stephen, but I'm afraid not. No, well, carry on with the good work out there. We have a great appreciation of you here at Grace Brothers, you know. Stephen.
Yes, Mr. Grainger?
Put that cigarette out before you go on the floor.
Did you get the time off then?
No, I suddenly remembered that it wasn't this Tuesday.
Is it next Tuesday?
No, actually, I don't need it until Mr. Rumbold comes back.
Oh, excuse me, Captain Peacock. May I go in now?
With pleasure, Mrs. Slocum.
No need to bother. He's coming out to see you.
Afternoon, Mr. Grainger.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hammer.
Afternoon, Mr. Grainger. Hey, what's it like at the top then, eh?
May I see both your sales books, please?
Our sales book? Mr. Rumbold never asked to see our sales book.
I am not Mr. Rumbold. Your sales books, please.
Ernest, may I have a word in your shell-like ear?
No. Go back to your counter.
Don't you order me back to my counter.
Whether you go back to your counter or go upstairs for your cards is entirely up to you, Mr. Slocum.
I'll go back to my counter. Only humouring him. He hasn't heard the last of this.
Down on your usual total, Mr. Humphreys.
Without your support, Mr. Grainger, it's only to be expected.
Mr. Lucas. Oh, very messy. Figures not clear, handwriting bad, must do better.
I'm sorry, Mr. Grainger. Shall I take 100 lines?
Mr. Lucas, you might be cheeky to me when I was over there, but you will not be cheeky to me when I'm standing here.
You wouldn't think that moving from there to there could change a man's personality, would you?
I don't know. You know, I was in the Navy for a week or two. One night I went ashore wearing the captain's cap. You should have heard the commotion that caused.
Yeah, but did it fool anybody?
Well, it would have done if I'd been wearing the trousers.
You wanted a word with me, Mrs. Slocum?
Oh, yes, Mr. Grainger. I wonder, could I have an hour off in the morning for a hairdressing appointment? My roots need retouching.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Slocum, but not in the firm's time.
Well, it grows in the firm's time.
The answer is no, Mrs. Slocum.
Half an hour.
No.
Well, when am I going to get it done then, you silly old goat?
You will have plenty of time next week, Mrs. Slocum. You're discharged. Discharged, yes. And the rest of you had better be on the time tomorrow morning, or there will be a few more vacancies.
Morning, Mrs. Slocum. I'm surprised at you being early, considering you've been fired.
I only came in early because I want a word with young Mr. Grace.
I see he's frightened you to coming in early for a change.
Don't be ridiculous. I have to get up early, otherwise the sparrows peck at me gold top.
Well, isn't anyone going to ask me why I'm early?
Right, why are you early?
I haven't been to bed yet.
We haven't signed the book.
Well, I'm glad to see that you're just on time this morning.
Good
Morning, Mr. Grainger.
Shall I take your coat, Mr. Grainger?
And may I compliment you on your executive bowler?
You may, Mrs. Slocum. It won't do you any good.
Will you keep your outdoor shoes on, Mr. Grainger, or would you like me to crawl off and find your pair of slippers?
Good morning, Ernest. I grabbed a quick cup of coffee at Beppo's.
You are late. In spite of my warning, you are late.
The queue.
I shall make an adverse report on you in your record. Now, all of you started very badly with me yesterday, and you better pull your socks up today, or there's going to be some fur flying. Understand?
Yes, Mr. Grainger.
Who's this arriving late?
It's Mr. Rumbold.
I thought she was away.
Morning, Mr. Rumbold.
Morning, Mr. Rumbold.
Morning. The main water tank burst, flooding the whole building, so they called off the seminar. Now I've returned to resume my normal duties. Carry on, everybody.
But, Mr. Rumbold, what about me?
Well, carry on as normal, behind the counter.
turned my back on my lifelong friend. Power went to my head, you know. Pass the sugar, would you please? I did mean it for the best, you know. I wouldn't have sacked you, Mrs. Slocum. You know that. Of course you do. And I wouldn't have made a report on you, Stephen. Not after all our years of companionship. I'm not being sent to Coventry, am I? Oh, I am. Oh, well. Coffee is bad for the heart, anyway. Especially an empty, broken heart. I can't stand it anymore.
We all agreed he must be taught a lesson.
But I feel so sorry for him. The rotten old bastard.
Supposing something dreadful happens to him on the way downstairs, and none of us will have had the chance to say we're sorry.
Well, perhaps he has suffered enough.
Well, I know I have.
I'll have to make it up to him.
You'll have a job making that hat up. Coat with a fur collar, he paid for that out of his holiday money.
Don't make it worse. Oh.
Your roots do need doing.
Apologise.
We have nothing to apologise for. He started it. Look, we'll all say that we forgive him and that we're all prepared to let bygones be bygones.
Glad I've caught you all. I've just told Grainger there's been another change of plan. It seems they've found a hotel in Edinburgh, so they're reconvening the seminar there. So it's all as you were, with Mr. Grainger in charge.
You're late. You're 5 minutes late, all of you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Grainger.
We were talking to Mr. Rumbold, Mr. Grainger.
I don't want any excuses. I want to see you in my office right away. You understand? Right away. Well, don't all look so miserable. I was going to offer you a drink.